There it is. I heard the tone. Got some butterflies going in my tummy.
The tone of our people, eh?
Yep.
All right, so welcome to episode 10 of the PDS podcast. In today's episode, we'll be chatting with our guest about Flex Seal, McDonald's, and storm chasing. But before we get started, I just want to take a moment to thank our sponsor for today's episode, Miracle Dent Repair. We'll hear a little bit more about them later in the show. Also, if you're watching us live right now, just remember that this is the raw and uncut version of the podcast, which means you may see or hear some things that don't make it into the final episode. Also, during the break, you will have an opportunity to ask today's guest some questions of your own. So please send them to us in the comments and sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Our special guest for tonight is Dr. Reed Timmer. Reed is an American meteorologist and storm chaser who is known for starring in Discovery Channel TV's series Storm Chasers, the documentary film Tornado Glory, and in the series Tornado Chasers. He also most recently worked with Mike Theiss in the reality TV series Storms Rising on Disney+. Reed is also the creator and founder of Team Dominator, a series of armored storm chasing vehicles. Welcome to the show, Reed. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Never stop chasing.
Glad to have you.
So where are you right now?
Well, I'm in Searcy, Arkansas right now. We've got an ice storm that's happening. Pure freezing rain outside. Super cooled liquid water coming down, hitting everything, freezing on impact. Some of the roads are a little bit treacherous too, but I think by tomorrow morning, there's probably going to be close to about a half an inch of ice accrual. That's the new word now, I think, for ice accumulation. So I think there's going to be quite a bit of ice out there tomorrow morning. And then I'm going to go look for quartz crystals tomorrow down on Mount Ida. So here in the Ozark Mountains where there's a lot of uplift and everything, it brings those quartz veins up to the surface. So I'm going to battle the ice storm with my McDonald's jacket and start digging points out of the ground tomorrow.
Well, at least they'll be able to see you when you're digging.
That's for sure. Me and Ronald McDonald.
So tell us what us and everyone that's listening, what is Team Dominator and what do they do?
Well, the Dominators are armored vehicles, tank-like vehicles that have 16-gauge steel on the outside, Line-X protective coating, and they're designed to get up close to tornadoes, if not inside, so that we can collect data that other people can't safely collect. And honestly, I was already intercepting tornadoes in beater vehicles, like my 1991 Mercury Topaz. I also had a Tempo, a double hand-me-down from my sister. I had an old extended cab truck that was a hand-me-down from my dad, and I was already intercepting tornadoes directly. So it made sense to give ourselves just a little bit of extra protection out there, some armor, Lexan windows, and then we could get up close to tornadoes inside and also be a shelter for insurance purposes as well. That was kind of the main reason in addition to the science. But yeah, we've been intercepting them ever since. Now I've got the Dominator 4, which is kind of a beat up 2018 Subaru Forester covered in hail dents. I blow the windows out 4 to 5 times every year, but still trying to intercept tornadoes and even that.
So you have quite a few past and current projects involving Team Dominator, such as Project Subsonic, Surgeonator, Vivian, WDN, and Gravitron. Can you tell us a little bit about these projects and what the goals have been with them?
Certainly. So the modern version of Team Dominator has Dominator 3 up in Canada, actually in Saskatchewan. It's owned by Sean Schofer in Melville, Saskatchewan. Dominator 1 and 2 are down in Oklahoma City now, but you may remember from when we were working on Discovery Channel Storm Chasers, we were launching by air cannon sensors into tornadoes. We were deploying ground-based probes, but the technology just wasn't quite right to track those sensors and to stream the data live. And many of the sensors that we launched into tornadoes, we never saw again. They traveled many miles away. The ones that would fall straight down to the ground, of course, we're able to find those, but the technology just wasn't quite right. And we were working for an engineering company back then. And then I met Mark Simpson, who's also Canadian. Chase and Spin on Twitter is his name. He's with the Twisted Chasers, Storm Chaser group. And he's the first person I met that actually has the ability to build these sensors, and they can actually work. Really incredible technology. They can stream the data live down to a ground receiver. And I actually met Mark just a couple of months, maybe a month or so before our first launch into the Linwood, Kansas tornado on May 28, 2019. It was 2019 that actually Gizmo had her cast on, not 2017. Sometimes I get those prime numbers of 7 and 9 a little bit confused, but 2017 was a big year as well. But I know 9 is not a prime number. I just get prime numbers sometimes discombobulated with 9. But 9 and 7 I seem to get a little bit confused. But anyway, 2019 we met Mark, and then he built those sensors in like a matter of about 1 or 2 months, a matter of weeks. He was able to build those sensors. They worked. He had a receiver and a Tupperware container. The data would be streamed live at a rate of 1 hertz, 1 time every second. If we recover the sensor, then we can actually recover the 10 hertz data. But that's our rocket launcher project. We have that massive rocket launcher on the top of Dominator 3. And Curtis Brooks, another Canadian up there, he's also a self-taught engineer. And he would go to all these different junkyards and put together a bunch of different parts to make a rocket launcher with pan and tilt capability inside of the Dominator. And in 2019, we finally launched a single rocket into a tornado, May 28, just southwest of Kansas City. And that it works in a Lagrangian sense. So the rocket is only designed to go up just above the ground, and then the parachute pops out, and then the wind inside of the tornado will carry it up in a Lagrangian sense, not necessarily Eulerian, but we want it to move with the flow, recording the data as it lofts up into the tornado and the mesocyclone above. And this one actually did 2 revolutions around the tornado and then lofted up above 30,000 feet before falling down about over 30 miles away from our original launch point.
Wow. Yeah, you somebody got a hold of you on Twitter that found the rocket, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. So we thought it was gone forever, and we were paralleling the tornado. Mark is getting hit by pieces of debris. Homes were getting dislodged off to the east, and he pulled the receiver inside a little bit. But then once it got up above about 16,000 feet or so in the mesocyclone, we lost contact and thought we'd never see the sensor again. So we took a picture of the sensor, the bright yellow parachute probe with a nose cone, and posted it on Facebook. And in like a matter of minutes, someone reached out to us and said that they found it in the front yard of a church in Leavenworth, Kansas. So I went out there immediately and was able to recover that sensor.
That's crazy.
That's impressive.
The power of social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the power of a crowd is incredible.
So probably your most popular project at the moment would be the Dominator WX weather station.
Yeah.
When are those going to be available for purchase for the public?
Well, they're going to be very soon. So Mark is working on those right now, and we did have some supply shortages with the pandemic that's happening and with China and with technology in general. That prevented us from rolling them out last storm season. But Mark has enough parts to produce about 20 of those, and it looks like here, probably a matter of weeks to maybe a few months, we're going to be rolling out those first Dominator weather stations, and we'll have 20 ready to go right out of the gate, research-grade weather stations mounted on vehicles as well. And the goal long-term is to create a network of this data stream, a network of storm chasers that'll all have one of these Dominator weather stations on the roof. And it would almost be like a mesonet that naturally tightens around the weather systems of interest. So naturally, storm chasers, like honeybees on a flower or something, will just would like to go toward the tornado. So I think it would naturally tighten up the resolution of the Dominator weather stations. But we do plan to roll out those research-grade weather stations in a matter of weeks to months, but in time for this storm season, certainly. Mark's just building them with his bare hands. So he has all this equipment over there to build all these sensor boards with his bare hands. And, it's incredible that he's able to make all that happen.
I've talked to him a bit, and he sent me some videos of what he's doing there, and it's incredible. He's quite the magician, that guy.
He is, an absolute savant. And he's got musical talent as well. I think he's got perfect pitch too. So he's one of those people that just has a lot of talent.
Just been blessed.
Yep.
So how can everybody else get one of those Dominator weather stations?
Well, we have an email list right now that's at Dominator or domwxdata.com, dominatorwx.com as well. So we have an email list where people can sign up in advance. But really, we need all these parts to come. We need Mark to gradually produce the the weather stations. But we'll continue to post updates as we're moving forward for this storm season when those are going to be ready. But we're going to have 20 ready to roll out, and I think we have about 2,000 pre-orders too for the weather station. So
Wow.
I'm terrified that we're going to set up this weather station thing, and then Mark is just going to have to be building these all the time. So I'm a little bit worried for Mark that might happen, but we could also source out some of the work to create those. He was actually trying to build his own ultrasonic anemometer last year, so he was doing crazy work with calibrating the ultrasonic anemometer. And I'm hoping that we'll have our own ultrasonic as well at Dominator WX.
Nice.
I think that out of China, I think that there's one company that builds all the ultrasonic anemometers for all the companies where you can purchase them. All the U.S., all the big companies. It seems like they kind of have a monopoly on the ultrasonic anemometers. So the crazy thing is that I think Mark was about to bust that monopoly wide open. So they're all crazy Twitter accounts like tracking him and everything, as he was posting updates on the development of the ultrasonic anemometer, because I think that they feared that their stranglehold on that equipment might be about to get blown apart.
Yeah. Wow.
But that's why they're so expensive. You go to like some of these sites to get an RM Young anemometer, and they're like $4,000.
Yeah.
The equipment, when the parts to go into something like that is a lot cheaper. There's probably like $100 for the parts or something, and that makes a situation where only those people that are able to be associated with the university or get those big time grants through the government, only those people are able to do real science. And it seems like everybody should be allowed to do science if they're in the position or near a tornado or in position to collect valuable data. So that's our mission, is to kind of open the door for real science to everybody, not just, the head of a university or a researcher at the university that is able to get a grant. We think that everybody should have the opportunity to collect data and do science.
That's awesome. I like that answer.
Thanks.
So are there any plans on retiring Dom 4 in the future?
No plan to retire Dominator 4 except if it just stops running. So as long as it continues to drive, I'll keep chasing with it. It's kind of like an old pair of jeans. When you put on a familiar pair of jeans, it just feels good, feels right. You're about to start your day. And I have the same kind of feeling when I sit down into Dominator 4. I smell my musk. I smell the rotting food that's in the car, and it's chase mode when I get in there.
Oh, that's terrible.
Well, after what it's been put through so far, I think you got a long life ahead with Dom 4.
Yeah, I'm sure I've got an old poutine or something in there that's putting out a good smell. Which that's disappointing, after the pandemic and everything. I usually get a poutine every year when I come up there to storm chase. Back in 2015, when we were chasing the Tilston, Manitoba tornado, the tornado actually sucked my poutine out the window. So I had the poutine in my lap. I was about to enjoy those wonderful cheese curds sliding down my throat. And then right when we're about to intercept the tornado, the inflow kick, Sean had his window open. I had my passenger window open. The RFD happened and sucked the poutine out the window. And never hit the ground. I think it was an A&W poutine too, which
man, that's criminal.
Yes. Yeah.
So you kind of started mentioning all who was involved in Team Dominator, but who is everyone that's involved in that?
Well, right now, Sean Schofer is the driver of Dominator 3, the owner of Dominator 3. You've got Mark Simpson, who's the engineer, builds all of our research equipment. You've got me, that's a storm chaser. And all the former members of Team Dominator, whether they want to be or not, they're still included in Team Dominator as well. Even if somebody quits the team, we'll still count them as Team Dominator. And anybody that wants to be a part of Team Dominator can be as well. You guys are a part of Team Dominator now. Welcome.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Dominator isn't necessarily an armored vehicle or a tank-like vehicle even. It's actually a state of mind and a style of storm chasing. So, any vehicle can be called the Dominator. You don't have to drive into a tornado. It doesn't have to be covered in armor. It's just a passion for storm chasing and a style of aggressive hook slicing intercepts of tornadoes.
Awesome.
we don't wait in the path of it, just southeast of it, waiting for that, potential rapid expansion. We do hook slice maneuvers, come from the rear of the tornado, punch through that little rain and hail wrapping around the backside, and then we're blessed with that beautiful high contrast look. And we're also in the path of the tornado, and we have softball size hail coming from the sky. That's the bear stage, and that's where we try to be with Team Dominator.
So speaking of that, what are the strongest wind speeds you've taken any of the Dominators into?
Well, the strongest one we ever measured was 155.2 miles an hour. That was June 5th, 2009, just outside of LaGrange, Wyoming. That was the LaGrange tornado that we intercepted. It was rated an EF2, but we measured a wind gust of EF3 intensity inside of that one. And it was roping out, so it was constricting as it impacted the vehicle, so we didn't experience those winds for very long. But that was actually the strongest wind that we ever measured, 155.2 miles an hour. We also measured 138.8 miles an hour in the Aurora, Nebraska tornado on June 17, just 12 days after that tornado in Wyoming. So we intercepted that one June 17, 2009. That was when the window was blown out by the suction vortex that ironically was coming around the backside of the tornado.
Huh. Curtis, you're
Sorry, my heater kicks in the garage, and it's quite loud, so I mute myself while it's running. But the real question that everyone wants to know is why do you spell Dominator 4 or Dom 4 F-O-R-E?
Well, the Dominator 4 would have made sense, just a number 4, but as the vehicle started getting beaten up and covered in hail dents, dimples all over the car, my side mirrors have been blown apart. I lose about 4 to 5 windows a year. The sunroof is caved in, so I put a piece of aluminum over top. But I started to realize that it looked more like a golf ball, and so that's why F-O-R-E, like when you yell 4 when you're hitting a golf ball or something, you accidentally hit somebody. I grew up working on a golf course, more maintenance. I was mowing grass. We'd peel off into the bushes, and get our head right to mow the fairways, the tee boxes, the rough and everything as well. And so I do have an intimate relationship with the game of golf as well. And I've had people yell 4, when the members are hitting the ball, and I'd be out there mowing grass. Sometimes they'll take one right in the middle of your back. So I think it just made sense that 4 F-O-R-E makes sense to kind of play off the number 4 a little bit as well. And also realizing that Dominator is a state of mind, a style of storm chasing, and not necessarily a material possession.
So when you said that you take a golf ball off the middle of the back, now I'm picturing you out there like Happy Gilmore, warming up for the season, just getting people to drive the balls at you, just taking the hail. That's all I can see now.
Not quite, but I would. Yeah, I'm not taking a golf ball into the small of the back, but I did dish one out one time. Just about 5 years ago, I was golfing with my friend Aaron Rupert out in Norman, Oklahoma at Westwood Golf Course, and there was a group in front of us that appeared intoxicated. They were playing really slow, and I was about 220 yards out with a 4-iron, and I thought I'd just roll it up a little bit on the green just to send a message, just to let them know, hey, we're back here, Little golf etiquette is needed. And I ended up hitting a career shot. This fade went through the air, and then it descended and hit the guy right in the middle of the back. It didn't even bounce. Hit him in the back and put him on the ground, and it was like a bar fight playing out from 220 yards away. It lasted about 45 minutes. These 4 guys had tattoos and everything, and they're running after the cart. And the incredible thing was that the golf cart, even with the governor, moved just fast enough, so it was just faster than they could run. So these guys were pissed off, and they ended up snapping my driver, throwing it back at me, whistled by my ear, and I turned the golf cart back around to get the head of my golf club, and these guys are trying to reach over my friend, trying to clock me and everything, and then finally I turned around, grabbed the club head, and as we're driving away, they're just running, slowly getting further and further back, and we just left the golf course, didn't finish the last round. But there's a lot to the story that I had to leave out, but it was around a 45-minute long ordeal, and I probably should have just said what they wanted to hear and diffuse the situation, but
where's the fun in that?
Kind of person.
Yeah.
I feel bad about it, but I also don't. They were, But no one was hurt, so that's the good thing.
It's most important.
Have you guys ever hit somebody playing golf?
I haven't,
I
but
have
my
not.
wife has driven a ball right into her old man's liver from about 40 yards.
Wow, that's not good.
When she
Especially in Canada, you guys need those livers up there.
right? Yeah, she hadn't hit a ball all day, so her dad and her brother they went ahead of her, and she finally caught a hold of one and just dropped him like a sack of stuff.
Wow.
But no, I have not.
Yeah.
Me
I've
either.
taken a hailstone into the liver before. So I was driving along in the passenger seat and had the window down, and one came right in and hit me right in the soft area, right below the ribs. The soft area. I think that's where the liver's located.
Saved your window though.
It did, yeah. Yeah, I don't
Silver
mind.
linings.
I definitely don't mind losing a window or two.
So what would you say your favorite feature of Dominator 3 is?
Definitely the rocket launcher on the roof. That's my favorite feature. My least favorite feature is actually the ability to deploy the Dominator, to drop it to the ground in the spikes. Because every time I'm chasing in that, the driver of the Dominator 3 just wants to drop it down, even if we're like a half mile away. And honestly, if I could rebuild the Dominator, I'd completely get rid of that feature. No deployment. Because the problem with the Dominator is if you deploy, you're sitting there for 20 minutes. So once you drop it to the ground and the spikes go in, your chase is pretty much over. So if you're going to deploy the Dominator, you want to be just about to get hit by the tornado, in the path of the tornado. But if you're trying to do a hook slice, you could get a flat tire and just allow the tornado to move off to your east, and that's a viable escape route with the hook slice maneuver, where if you're in the path of the tornado, it could hit you. It could expand down shear. Tornadoes don't like to expand up shear. They don't like to paddle upstream without a paddle. So tornadoes in general, unless it's one of those stationary ones with dramatic deviant motions like a Bennington, Kansas or something, if you're approaching from the backside, that's generally a good spot to approach. But down in Dixie Alley where they're moving at 60, 70 miles an hour, that just isn't an option down there. So
Yeah, for sure. So I guess that kind of answers my next question, which was if you ever made a new Dominator, what's one thing you'd be sure to change?
I might
no deployment.
More of an all-purpose vehicle too, kind of a vehicle that's capable of chasing all different storms. Maybe a Dominator that could even float. So if we're chasing a hurricane and a storm surge comes in, we could just barrel into it, turn it into a boat, and start floating, continue to collect data as well. But I think I'm just happy with the Dominator 4, kind of a beat-up vehicle, beaten down vehicle. It's kind of consistent with kind of how I feel these days too, but kind of on brand a little bit for me. I don't need some nice expensive car. I'm kind of now taking the approach to where, I don't need to own the view to enjoy it,
Absolutely.
I don't need to have any nice things anymore. I think it's natural
Except your
for us
coat.
humans to try to accumulate nice things, and I'm kind of trying to gravitate away from that a little bit.
I'd believe you a lot more if you weren't sitting there sporting that sweet coat.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize there was arches on the back too.
Yeah. Fries on the side too. Do you see the fries on the
Oh man. Oh, that thing is money.
Maybe even put some cheese curds and gravy on that, then you got a poutine on the side.
Oh, we'll get a patch for the other arm for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the rocket launcher of the Dominator 3 because, that's really the key part to get instrumentation into the tornadoes. And Curtis and Sean may design a big, massive launcher with multiple rockets along the top. And I'm really hoping we can get the band back together, get the team back down in the U.S. now that the borders are open. And Sean, Curtis, and Mark, get Sean back behind the wheel, and just get everybody down there. It's been a couple of years now, and I wish we just chased anyway, but got to follow the rules.
Yeah.
Stupid rules.
They made it hard to get down there, that's for sure.
Yeah, and hard to get up into Canada. So these last couple of years, the first time I haven't been up there in a long time, since probably 2006 or 2005. Yeah, so the first time that I missed a couple of years. But, that's just selfish. I understand that You guys get your poutine in tornadoes as well. So I don't need to sit here and enjoy it. Well, hopefully now that the pandemic, hopefully it's coming to a close and we can all meet up, hang out, storm chase, and you can see Gizmo again, Jordan, and it'd be good to get our Canadian friends back down. I just saw Tom Smetana is going to be planning on chasing down in the U.S. As well this year. Yeah, and really hoping Sean comes down.
Yeah,
I'm worried he's been locked up there in Saskatchewan for too long.
Be going squirrely
out in storm chase.
He's been ice fishing lots.
He has, yeah. He's been in that shed. Gets in that shed, and yeah. You guys, does every Canadian have an ice fishing shed?
Most,
almost,
or someone that has one.
Yeah,
you guys do as well.
Yeah.
Well, I don't personally have one, no, but I know a lot of people with them.
You sleep in them and everything too, right?
You can. Usually that's after too many beer, but you can. So you mentioned Gizmo. What does she think of chasing and storm chasing and all of that?
She loves chasing. She's been doing it since she was a little puppy, and she's seen a couple hundred tornadoes. Gizmo has. We were discussing before we went live how she had her cancer scare a couple of years ago, and Gizmo's on the doggy CBD from Honest Paws, so I give her that, and that has definitely improved her health. She has beautiful, shiny, soft fur now. She's very active as well. She beat the cancer a couple of years ago, but I was running after her, as I told you, and had to do a Superman dive and rolled on Gizmo because she was about to make contact with a German Shepherd. That actually ended up being her friend afterward, but I ended up snapping her paw, and she had a little peg leg during the 2019 season. Including the intercept that we had on May 17, 2019. Sean was in the Dominator 3, and I got separated from the vehicle, held Gizmo in my bread basket with the wind back behind us, and she was kind of sheltered there, and we were getting blasted by manure and wheat and everything from that freshly plowed field. I ended up getting pink eye for must have been about 2 weeks after that I had to battle my eye. I touched my eye, and the thing would just blow up. It was like some kind of an autoimmune thing or something with my eyes. Also my bronchial tubes from breathing in all that manure. So that was definitely an issue. But
the lesser known dangers of storm chasing.
Yeah. Those fields, there's some bad stuff on fields, and like dirt, manure, the little crinkled up wheat that's in there too. I'm a little bit allergic to wheat. But that was Gizmo's intercept on foot, and she's been storm chasing ever since. She's seen about 200 tornadoes, Category 5 hurricane. She was in Hurricane Michael back in 2018 as well, and she's been close to an EF5 tornado. She's been chased debris flows. Gizmo was actually hit by a tornado in my house in Norman, Oklahoma as well. So I was on a different storm in northern Oklahoma and actually missed the one that impacted my house. And Gizmo was in there with the Dominator 1 parked in the driveway, and we actually missed that tornado. So he's even intercepted tornadoes that I missed.
She's like, I don't need you. I can do this on my own. So I see that you have a sponsorship with Flex Seal, and I saw a video of you getting your car put back together using it. So how many parts of your vehicle are actually held on with Flex Seal products now?
Well, a lot. My bumper, the roof, the whole vehicle's waterproof with Flex tape. And they've been an awesome sponsor. They're my only sponsor right now. So Flex Seal is incredible, and they're supporting our science. They're helping provide Mark with equipment so he can waterproof the sensors as well. And we use Flex tape to mount the Gravitrons and the storm surge sensors on poles and whatnot when tornadoes are moving through. And when we're able to find the sensor, the Flex tape works perfectly. But recently, when I deployed in the bomb cyclone, the storm surge ended up taking out the whole entire dune, taking out the pole and everything, and we completely lost the sensor. But the Flex tape definitely held. It's just that the pole got dislodged from the dune. But that's another project that we're working on, the Surgeonator sensors that Mark designs. And those are based on the pressure weight of the water. They're able to measure and stream live the depth of floodwaters and storm surge. And they're also able to measure the salinity of the water and other atmospheric pressure and then stream all that data live. So that's another project that we have going on with Flex Tape, and also the drone racing that we're doing. The goal is to fly a racing drone right up to a tornado, ride the surface inflow in, and then rocket straight up along the corner flow where it makes a 90-degree angle with the ground. You get rapid uplift as well, when that surface inflow hits the vortex. So our goal with the racing drone is to haul ass toward the tornado and then rocket straight up and then fly up and down the edge of the tornado, measuring data while we're doing it. Another thing we're trying to do is just land the racing drone in the path of the tornado and let the tornado move over it so that we can measure surface pressure data and other meteorological data at the surface.
That's crazy.
That's
yeah, so do you guys all have greens? Do you both have green screens behind you?
Yes, sir.
So that's that software, right? Is it, what's it called, Black Magic or something?
No, this is actually built right into the platform we're using right now. It's StreamYard.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you could actually build a green screen behind StreamYard and then just have whatever image you want back there?
Absolutely. Yep. So I've got a literal screen of green back here.
Wow. I've got the Holiday Inn Express, which feels just like home, you know, when you come into a Hampton Inn or a Holiday Inn or a Motel 6 and they have this same color scheme and artwork. It just makes me feel at home. I get my best night's sleep in a hotel because it feels so much like home.
You probably spend more nights in a hotel than you do at home.
Definitely.
Probably.
I don't really have. I have an apartment in Colorado now that I'm never there, but I pretty much live on the road full time now. I crash at my mom's place in upstate South Carolina quite a bit. I'm that 41-year-old that lives with his mom.
There's your new Tinder profile.
Oh, I don't date. I am non-sexual. The last 5 to 6 years, I am just pure commitment to storm chasing, mountain biking, golf, science, and Gizmo. Gizmo, I would say, is the love of my life partner. She is, Gizmo's awesome. We're like two peas in a pod.
That's terrific.
Right on.
Yeah, but no Tinder. No way. I have a process, you know. I'm done with that. What a waste of time, you know. Unless you're going to reproduce, you know, or you want to have a family, which, you know, at this point, I don't know if that's going to happen. I used to want to have a family when I was younger and all the way through my 30s, but at this stage, I'm just going to storm chase into the sunset for the next 50 to 60 years with medical advancements.
There you
Never
go.
Stop, man.
Yeah, what do you think? We'll be storm chasing until we're 200-300 years old with medical advancements?
They're just going to put your brain into a Dominator 18 and away you go.
Yeah.
Brain in a jar right on top.
Yeah.
So I think the question everybody wants to know is how many miles per gallon does Dom 3 get?
You spelt that wrong. It's gallons per mile.
3 or 4. Dominator 4 does pretty good gas mileage, but Dominator 3 is a diesel, so it does better than you might think, like 12 or 13 miles a gallon. So we would go electric, but problem is I don't think there's enough charging stations yet across the Great High Plains and Canadian prairies. And they're expensive, I mean.
Need to figure out how to harness the lightning.
Yeah.
Instant charge.
The light, yeah.
Hey, Mark, you know your next step.
Yeah, Mark, if you're watching, let's get an electric solar powered Dominator if we can. Or nuclear fusion, something like that.
Well, I guess that takes us to our first break. If anybody that's watching has any questions, now is your time to ask them before we get on with the rest of the show here.
Hail damage. It can happen at any time, and when it does, bring it to the hail repair specialists at Miracle Dent, because dents are what we do. Our paintless dent repair process maintains your original factory finish with no repainting or parts to order. You'll have your vehicle with its original factory paint back in no time like it never happened. If Mother Nature has put a dent in your summer, come to Miracle Dent Repair. Dents are what we do.
Perfect sponsor for Dominator 4.
Absolutely.
I meant to make that connection after the first sponsor run, and then I forgot, and then now you're running it again, and I can bring it up there and see if they can pull some of those dingers out.
Well, we might even have a gift card or two we could give you for there.
Yep. Yeah, I got a couple gift cards here from them.
I would love to see the look on their face when Dom four-wheeled in the parking lot.
Yeah, I returned some rental cars back in the day after completely destroying them. One in eastern Wyoming in 2018. I was driving up after the tornado, and I was still probably 4 miles away when it first touched down, and I got a flat tire because I was driving on this crazy road, canyon road. Got a flat tire, and I had the decision: do I stop and fix the tire and miss the tornado? No, you don't do that. You drive on the rim, and then you intercept the tornado. So I just kept driving, blocked it out. You know, it totally evaporated the tire, and I'm driving on the rim when I finally got up to the tornado. Hook slice maneuver, softballs going around, and the tornado started wobbling back toward me. And then it hit the town of Federal, Wyoming, just northwest of Cheyenne. And there was a man that took shelter, and he came out of his shelter. He had 2 Siberian Huskies. And I also ran into softball-sized hail and blew some of the windows out, dented the whole entire exterior of the vehicle. And then I let him take shelter in the car, of course, and the Siberian Huskies just destroyed the back of the car. Just shredded the interior and the exterior. Eventually, he helped me put on a donut tire as well, and I ended up driving it back to Denver. All the windows blown out, donut tire, back of the car shredded. And I pulled in, and they were clapping. They were standing in a circle around, and everybody was clapping when I returned it. And they had a bunch of hail around the area, too, but it was obviously the worst damaged car they had ever seen. And they were laughing, celebrating. And I realized that the people that check in your vehicle and the employees of the rental car company, they don't care whether it's covered by insurance or not. They just appreciate good damage.
They just like seeing it.
Just witnessing it.
It's like, look at this thing. There's nothing left on here. What did you do to it?
So we've started doing this thing where we ask our guest if they have a question for our next guest. And in the last episode, we had Mike Olbinski on the show, and he left the following question for you. Haboobs or tornadoes?
Tornadoes. Yeah, a haboob is like chasing a squall line, except it has dirt in it, and it makes it look beautiful with the dirt. Definitely makes them very photogenic. But I would even chase debris flows and flash floods. But I love haboobs, so it's definitely up there. You know, it's, I would say that I would prefer chasing a haboob over a hurricane.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, a hurricane is like standing in a squall line, except for like 12 hours. You know, you're driving it. The winds are, maybe 130, 140 or so. You can still drive in those barely if you keep the vehicle pointed into the wind, but it's not as much of a chase as you just kind of park in the path of it, let it blow over you, try to get content out, try to collect data the best you can. Everybody's panicking. Most people evacuate. The people that stay behind are a lot of times crazy people, crazy storm chasers, corrupt police officers, all in one group. And it's more about the human element than it is about the meteorology with a hurricane chase in a lot of ways, which I think is great and everything. But tornado chasing then is the pure chase finesse game where you're trying to get close to the tornado. You're trying to anticipate its next move. Is the storm going to cycle? Do you need to navigate roads? It's definitely more of a chase, I think, by definition. Whereas, a haboob is a bit of a hybrid, a little bit more of a chase, but you're also kind of just waiting for it to come to you. You're setting up your tripod in the path of it, standing there, just kind of watching it, and so it's more of a hybrid, a chase, and you're waiting to allow it to get to you. But I still love chasing hurricanes as well. But ice storms I do chase as well. But tornadoes and giant hail and debris flows, flash floods are my favorite. But haboobs, way up there. I'd rather chase a haboob than a mega shelf squall line, but I would love to chase both of them.
So our next guest is going to be Jessica Moore, and do you have a question for her?
Yeah, do I have to come up with it right now?
Nope, you can let us know later.
Okay, but I do have a question right now. Do you think that it's got to be related to NFTs, I would think.
Probably.
Yeah. Photography, NFTs, rogue storm chaser, but I want to think about it. I want to come up with a really good question instead of just coming up with one on the fly. And I have a lot of respect for Jessica, and I want to come up with a good question. But I think it might involve NFTs a little bit because it's definitely something I've been trying to decide. Is it something I should get into? Is it something where I should take a photo of Gizmo and roll out a Gizmo line? Is it something that maybe isn't for me? So it's definitely something that's related to that space because I've definitely seen a lot of storm chasers start to pursue that angle. And I'm all about angles that allow storm chasers to be able to make a living doing what they love, whether it be social media streaming, making it possible for a pathway for independent content contributors to generate content and make a living, or whether it be for NFTs, which has been a great platform for photographers and for storm chasers to make ends meet following their passion. So I always support these renegade communities. They always start off renegade and then they become mainstream, but I always support those pathways that make it possible for the storm chaser, just the average storm chaser, to make a living doing it as well. And because a lot of times, media and content, it's controlled by a big corporation. They only allow it for a couple of people to have a job doing it, and they may or may not even be passionate about it. But social media has opened the floodgates to allow anybody with a passion or talent to possibly even make a living doing what they love. So that's why I love the NFT space. I love social media that's made it possible to really allow us to take advantage of our independent spirit and make a living doing what we love.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, if just
I'll
send
think
us
about
a
it and
message
text
on.
it to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
My file access system in my brain is a lot slower now, I think, due to just years and years of chasing and burnout. So a lot of times once I sign off of these podcasts, then I'll remember.
Oh, I should have thought of that.
Questions. Yeah. I've just got a little bit of a lag that's baked in. Unfortunately, I can't access my.
It's all good, buddy.
But yeah, Jessica will be a great guest, and I'll tune in. But I would love to hear more about how the NFT space is going.
Absolutely.
So
and
now,
is there any room? Is there any room for the Yahoo Storm Chaser in NFTs?
I hope so.
I'm a Yahoo, and it does feel a little bit like the Yahoo style of storm chasing is kind of a dying breed a bit.
It's too many people can see everything that's happening now. Everyone has a camera in their hand.
You get up close to a tornado with a potato phone, and that there's got to still be a space for the Yahoo storm chaser like me.
Well, speaking of that, now it's time for a 21 question segment where we're going to get to learn all about your Yahoo lifestyle.
Okay. Yahoo.
So, what I want to know is what's your secret model or your secret weapon for reading the models or predicting tornadoes?
Boy,
what is that one thing that you have to have?
I think you got to control your information flow. So I kind of come a little bit from the old school style of storm chaser, where you had not as many models that were available and you kind of knew their biases and their weaknesses a bit. And you start your storm chase and then you don't get any information coming in at all till the end. And then you see what people got, you post your video. But now all the information is real time. There's radar data coming in. You get flooded with 500 different opinions of what their forecast is, unsolicited most of the time. I get text just blowing up. This is what I think. I think it's going to be here. I think it's going to be over here. Next thing you know, you totally forget what your own forecast was. So I think that's causing everybody to kind of move as a herd a little bit with the same forecast, the mainstream forecast that gets picked up by social media and whatnot. And you don't really have anybody that's working the secondary or tertiary targets as much. And so I think my secret is to try to exist in a vacuum as much as you can before the chase so that you can kind of maintain your own forecast a little bit. You can learn a lot more that way. And filtering information, I think, is the key to being a successful storm chaser these days, because there's so much information come in. You just get discombobulated and have no idea what your original forecast was. Eventually, you even forget your name, and where the tornado is, where you're located. And so my goal moving forward is to try to control the information flow and try to exist in a vacuum the best I can until the storm is intercepted, and then resume summer camp. Everybody meets up at Applebee's. We share our stories, share our forecast in hindsight, how it worked, how it didn't work. But I do love, I love the NAM models just because I know their bias is a bit more. there's always a new model and a new update these days and something new that's wrong. And so it's very difficult to stay in tune with the model biases as well these days, and to even have a favorite model because there are so many different models, so many different tools these days. It sure seems like models are getting less accurate with time, especially in the medium to long range. But I could be wrong with that. That could be false, but it just seems like forecasts, it was a little easier to forecast back in the day.
So what is something interesting that most people don't know about you?
Well, I collected insects when I was younger, so I was a big bug collector. I was in Science Olympiad. I didn't go through puberty till about the age of 25 or so I was in Science Olympiad collecting insects. Also played the oboe. So I went to summers at Interlaken, and so even though my name's Reed, coincidentally, I'm named coincidentally after the mouthpiece of the oboe, but it was coincidence. But I love the oboe. I wish I could play that again. I played all the way through college, and it was definitely a good balance for storm.
Well, that sounds like something you should have in Dom 4 with you to pass the time while you're waiting for a storm.
Yeah, bring out the oboe. Yeah, I can still play it. It's kind of one of those things where you just get back on a bike, I think. You don't really think about it too much.
What do you enjoy most about presenting the weather?
Like weather briefings?
Yeah.
This is when he's accessing the data.
Yeah, I like
It's buffering.
Yeah, I like the ticker that scrolls along the bottom. That was just kind of a new thing that I added on there. That little ticker that says PDS is in effect.
Yeah.
PDS Tornado Watch. I like the ticker. I do like getting excited when I'm looking at the models and then sharing it with people as well. I like the comments that are coming in when I'm doing weather briefings. So those are fun. But I'm not very good at presenting the weather, I don't think. So it's not one of my favorite things to do. So, a little self-conscious about it, but I definitely try to do
I think
it.
you've got a pile of people that really enjoy watching you and listening to you present the weather.
I agree.
Thank you.
How did you get interested in the weather?
Well, I've loved it for as long as I can remember. And my first tornado experience was when I was about 5 years old, and my dad was pulling us in a wagon to go catch minnows. And there was a tornado warning that was issued, and we were coming back to my mom's house, and he was pulling us, walking really slow, the same speed the whole time, even though the sirens were blaring. I remember the chaos as well. The newspaper delivery man would often ride his bike with no handlebars, and he's just hauling ass with not holding onto the handlebars, just zipping out one of the driveways. So I remember that happening, everyone fleeing the tornado. My mom stuck her head out the window and just started going nuts. Get back here, tornado warning, just flipping out. And I just remember the whole chaos of it. And that must have led to an obsession with tornadoes starting at about age 6 or so.
Oh, that's awesome.
1986. And then, of course, a Twister happened, and that was late 90s. I had already had some storm chases under my belt when it started, but the whole Twister thing, just ramped up the stoke factor about storm chasing. Just realizing that, holy cow, there's actually a career path where you can follow your passion of observing and intercepting storms. I'm not as passionate about the physical sciences, honestly, and the mathematical. I wasn't very good at meteorology. I just loved it so much. I was better at the life sciences and insect collecting and bioprocess events. And just kind of pure memorization a bit more, but I decided to follow my passion and go into meteorology. But I'm not a natural mathematician or programmer or physical scientist as much as a savant. For example, like Mark, he's your textbook expert physical scientist, I would say, with elite mathematical skills and programmer. And I wish that I had that, but I was definitely more of an insect collector, nature, life sciences, but my true passion was always in weather, severe weather, and storm chasing.
Who's been your most important professional mentor?
I definitely have some people that inspired me for sure. Jeff Petrowski was a huge inspiration. Tim Marshall was a big inspiration as well. He actually sent me VHS tapes of his footage when I was growing up. But I think I'm kind of one of those mentorless people, that when you grow up in storm chasing a little bit, it was kind of a young community, and the old guard that was there, they were more kind of hating on the fact that storm chasing was becoming popular. So I kind of had an opposite experience. A lot of those older original storm chasers were kind of mean actually when we first started, trying to get us out of storm chasing, get us out of meteorology at any cost, competing with you, I think most of those older folks, they weren't very nice. They'd even put up whole entire websites. People that work at the SPC now, they put up these massive websites, just hater websites. And I was like an 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid at the time. And these professional meteorologists were devoting these whole entire websites to being a hater. Roger Edwards, those guys.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. I think that's just natural human instinct, as we get older and younger people start taking over and the popularity starts to intensify. So my goal is, as I get older, to be the opposite of what I experienced and to try to help people, show them the path of storm chasing, show them a path of meteorology. And even though it might be natural for your testosterone and your hormones to say, I want to compete with this guy, this isn't good, even though he's 20, 30 years younger than you, I think it's a lot more fulfilling if you help them and mentor those people and show them a path of storm chasing. But unfortunately, I consider myself one of the mentorless people, and I definitely do wish that I had one back in the day to kind of show me the path. But I also am thankful that happened so that I can show other people the path, and kind of learn from that. I think that's sometimes why if you have a bad parent or something, it a lot of times skips a generation because you can kind of learn from something and try to do better yourself. So that's what I would do for storm chasing, is to support the community rather than hate on it.
That's an incredibly healthy way to look at that.
Absolutely.
You have to force it though, because it's not a natural way to be. I feel like some of these older people, they still want to steamroll you and compete against you, and ego, is a big issue. And so you got to sometimes put that aside and try to show people the path more so than anything. And then I think it'll be a much more fulfilling existence when you have to pass away.
Absolutely.
Never stop chasing.
So what has changed the most since you started chasing?
Well, the popularity is incredible. I mean, there are tons of storm chasers out there. The technology has changed dramatically. The advent of social media. When I first started chasing in the late 90s, we had to pull over and go to libraries. You get a library card at every little library town. You look at information, you find your target, and then you leave that information and then drive to where the tornado is happening. Now there's a continuous flow of information coming in, a need for continuous updates to even stay afloat. If you're working for an AccuWeather or working for social media, you got to keep real-time updates, if not stream live nonstop. And it's exhausting, but that's the way that things are now as well. So, but boy, has it changed dramatically over the last 25 years. And I'm sure that the people that were kind of ending their storm chasing career when I was beginning maybe felt the same way. I would think.
So what did you do as a job before you got into storm chasing?
Well, storm chasing's been my full-time job since 99, I would say. So it's been my full-time job since then, but I still worked at a golf course, mowing grass, tee boxes, cleaning clubs. Growing up, that's where I worked in the golf course business. And then over the summers, early college, I would come back and mow grass as well, and got fired actually because of storm chasing. So ended up not blasting all the way to Nebraska from Michigan, storm chasing, and then came back, and pretty sure I got fired then. But the key to storm chasing is you have to work like 5 or 6 different jobs at the same time too, because
yeah.
So you're always working that many jobs, and you get fired a lot. You get new jobs. You got to keep a lot of burgers on the grill. Like sometimes when I'm out storm chasing, I'm doing AS lives for AccuWeather. I'm slinging reports for Ryan Hall, y'all. I'm posting to my social media as well. I'm doing sponsor stuff, flex tape videos that I have to edit every day, 3 videos a month, 10 lives a month. I had a tour company there for a while. I was doing speaking events nonstop. I was doing like probably 50 to 100 speaking events a year there for a while, and sponsors and commercials. And then in the end, you still break even.
If you're lucky.
Even with all that work.
Truly something you need to love. So that being said, what would be your biggest challenge you've experienced as a storm chaser, or while you're storm chasing?
Paying the bills, definitely, and staying afloat, not getting audited by the IRS, and definitely the storm chasing itself. The drives are definitely a challenge. Eating, you can't really eat healthy on the road, so that's definitely a challenge. Dealing with the people, working with friends. Friends will be the first people to backstab you once you're doing something good. So I've lost dozens and dozens of friends over the years, and I blame myself a lot for that too, because working with friends initially can be a struggle. So lost a lot of that, and kind of gained insight into how we truly are as humans, which we really, all of us really probably aren't that great, but
people suck.
Yeah, I mean, I do too, so what can you do? But I think if I were to go back, I don't think I would work. I don't know if I would work with your friends and stuff. I think I'd probably just work solo my whole entire life. But to accomplish anything great, you need to have a team of very talented people working together. And the hardest part of storm chasing is keeping that team together. Because eventually, people in the team are like, well, I could be doing this myself much better. Well, I could be making this much by myself. And then eventually it starts to unravel, and tear itself apart at the seams. But that's probably been the most difficult part, is maintaining friendships and teams through all of this.
So who have been your three most influential people in your life, whether that be in storm chasing or outside of storm chasing? Or
Definitely Jeff Petrowski. He kind of pioneered the extreme storm chasing, and his positivity and passion, I would say, a borderline mentor even, except but more of an inspiration with storm chasing. And Tim Samaras, of course, the self-taught engineer doing his own science as well. He was on our show, Storm Chasers. Joel Taylor, of course, my late best friend, Joel Taylor, incredibly influential on me, as well. And Dr. Lamb was my advisor in grad school. So my mom, the most important is my mom. So she's the one that got me set on the path of the sciences, got me into insect collecting, and definitely kind of opened the door to let a natural passion for the sciences to take over. And where I'm staying at my mom's right now in South Carolina. So
you're lucky you made sure to mention her, otherwise she would have whooped you when you got home. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Storm chaser. Yeah, always a storm
really?
chaser. Yeah.
That is, not too many people can say that they're actually doing what they wanted to as a child.
Yeah, I always wanted to be a storm chaser. You guys too.
Yeah.
Well,
true.
As a kid, I don't think I did. I was terrified of storms as a kid. But
well, there's a fine line between fear and intense curiosity. Very fine
I think it was
line.
probably about 10 before I started to enjoy them. But at 5, I'm pretty sure I was scared.
No, I was probably afraid of them at 5 too.
What's your favorite state or province to chase in?
I love chasing Canada. Saskatchewan, definitely in Canada. It's just a beautiful place. Saskatchewan is awesome. I haven't seen those tornadoes there. I've seen all the tornadoes in Manitoba. But my second favorite state, I love all the states though. I love Dixie Alley down here for what it is. The grungy, it's good for the skin quality, all the moisture too. It's good. I love the high plains. I love the giant hill, the high plains. So I don't really have favorites. I just kind of love all places to chase for.
Well, I'm going to stick to Saskatchewan because you said it first, and that's just it's the best.
I love Alberta too. I love the high plains insane of Alberta. Ontario, it's harder. I'm not a fan of Ontario chasing.
Yeah,
I used to go there
me
when
either.
we were 18, 19 years old for the legal beer. When I was growing up in Michigan, we'd all pile in our car. We'd get up to the border, and they'd be like, "Sir, why are you coming to Canada?" We'd be like, I don't know. You know, just go to visit. You know, like we all nervous and everything. Yank us out of the car, strip the whole car down and everything. But
If you would have just said we're coming to drink beer, it would have been fine.
The guy that would drive, Josh Moxley was his name. He would always just show his anxiety. You know, his face would turn all red, start stuttering and everything. His hands were shaking on the wheel, even though there was no reason to. It was just something with going across that border when we were younger.
Crossing the border can be scary sometimes.
For sure. I do it quite often for work, and it still freaks me out every time I do.
Yeah.
Nothing in the vehicle. I know I'm doing nothing wrong, and I'm still,
But
my
it's the
anxiety is
potential
through
that
the...
they can say no. You know, they can just
Yeah.
be like, no, you're
Yeah.
not coming in. It's just the prospect of that, I think, is what makes it fearful.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's terrifying.
So I think I probably already know the answer to this, but snow, hurricanes, tornadoes, or structures, which is your favorite
Tornadoes.
to chase?
Close range.
That's what I
Close
figured.
range. But I enjoy the structure as I'm driving toward it.
Absolutely.
I don't own a tripod.
No?
Really?
No, hell no. I never will own a tripod.
So you probably don't stand still long enough to use one.
No,
Yeah.
I've never believed in the concept of a tripod. I've kind of been against it. Because I think you kind of have to stop chasing to set up a tripod.
Yeah,
We-
it takes a while.
Unless you got a minivan, then you leave it
full.
fully set. Just
Yeah.
grab it and stick it out there and you're good to go.
Yeah. I do need to get some nice equipment someday, you know, still photography and tripods, but maybe once I get a little older and less aggressive, I'll get some of those and shoot do some time-lapse films.
I'll usually like set up a tripod and do a little bit of a time lapse as things are getting going and you're seeing the updrafts go up and everything, but once that storm's happening, I don't think that tripod leaves my car.
No.
Do a monopod.
True.
Yeah.
There is
They're
those.
nice and maneuverable.
Glorified selfie stick.
It's a 2x4 with a 1/4-inch bolt stuck in it. So, Reed, what is your biggest failure and what did you learn from that experience?
Oh, man.
Right? It's a heavy
Yeah, one
question.
thing as storm chasers, I mean, we're very, you know, deeply familiar with failure. You know, in the process. And, geez, yeah, I've made so many mistakes over the years. I don't even know where to start. Jeez, yeah.
That's how you know it was a good question.
Yeah, I mean, like 20 failures, you know, hundreds. I mean, I can't, yeah. I would think, you know, business-wise, I'm not a very good business person. I would do better at paperwork, of course. I ended up getting audited by the IRS and woke up to like a $350,000 tax lien in the mail. And the workers' comp that came after the tour company because I didn't classify my workers as employees. Instead, I classified them as contractors, and that was another $300,000 bill that I woke up to in the morning. And I had, you know, sheriffs that were delivering subpoenas at my place over that, and friends that, you know, were tearing apart, you know, everything, stealing stuff out of my house, TBN, total collapse. But just doing paperwork, you know, I think would be better, and maybe not working with big teams, just kind of, you know, taking my own path. And or boy, storm chasers too, even just, yeah, lots of errors there that are associated with that. But the key is to not dwell on your mistakes, you know, or you'll live an unhappy life. You
No,
try
for
to
sure.
dwell on the good things.
Absolutely.
And from a science perspective, you know, I wish that I churned out all these papers right after storm season, but you're also working, doing sponsors, churning out videos, trying to graduate to begin with. Finally, we have our rocket paper that's about ready to be published. It's like 37 pages long, and the hard part is taking a big document like that and really shrinking it down to something that, you know, is acceptable by a publication. And now at this stage, now that I'm in my 40s, you know, I've kind of worked so hard over the last 20 or 30 years that my brain is kind of fried out, you know, so you can't really fix all those mistakes that you made in the past, and you just kind of have to chase and live storm to storm.
Learn from them and grow.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, many errors. I think that but you never want to dwell on that, or you'll be pretty upset.
Right there, Chi T says, yes, learn from and grow.
I mean,
learn
all the
from it and
busts,
grow.
man, I've had tens of thousands of busts, and situations where I drove all the way up to Canada and didn't see anything, and I've had beater vehicles that have been trashed, and I've had a divorce, failed marriage. Obviously, I wish that I worked better on that. So, yeah, I mean, never stop chasing comes with a price.
It does. So looking back at all the amazing weather events you've covered over the years, which one stands out the most to you, or is the most important to you?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Definitely the rocket launch on May 28, 2019, just because we really broke through launching a sensor into a tornado that actually worked, actually streamed the data back live. And that was definitely one of my favorite moments. And if it weren't for Canadians, we wouldn't have pulled it off. We worked as a team. Sean Chauffeur, expert driving, kept us safe, got us right up in there. Mark launching the sensors, developing the sensors so that they work. Aaron Jack navigating. And I pressed the big red button in the back seat that launched.
If you won $10 million tomorrow, what would you do with it?
Dominator Flive.
Probably parlay it into some really low cryptocurrency or something and buy an NFT.
Buy one.
Buy one of those Bored Ape NFTs and then put it on my Twitter profile. No, I wouldn't. I would donate a lot of it, honestly, to feel better about myself. And I would take the other half and maybe build another Dominator, mass produce some sensors, accelerate the Dominator weather station process, and create a Web3 space for storm chasing, whether it be, numerical models in 3D or a platform for a 360-degree tornado video, something like that.
I hope you win $10 million.
I probably wouldn't be slinging as many weather reports. I would just storm chase. There wouldn't be any weather reports. No weather reports, just pure chasing. I'd pay somebody to finish this publication.
It's all the stuff I don't want to do. Someone else can do it.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's what most people would probably do with it. But I would donate as well, but even that, could be viewed as a selfish act because you're just trying to make yourself feel better about yourself, But I think it's also important to
You'll never win, man.
Help others. Yeah, no. You can't win.
You'll never make all the people happy all the time.
Yeah, no. That is for sure.
So what songs would we find on your Storm Chase playlist?
Well, I like a lot of Bob Dylan and Tom Petty. I like some old school rap, like that Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh.
Right up my alley. 50 Cent dropped out of the ceiling there. Looked a little bigger than what I remember, but
we all are.
We all do.
Yeah, I was good at some of those.
Especially after COVID.
Yeah. And some top 40. I like the top 40 as well. And so I'm starting to get into the new music too. I've been chasing with the Captain Vanover, the world champion drone racer too. He's like 22 years old, so they listen to totally different music. It's totally different. It's like
all those TikTok viral hits.
Kind of, yeah. I think I'm banned from TikTok. All right, I've got one more post. I'm banned. Right now, I'm view only on TikTok until February 25th.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, every time I post a storm chasing video, they delete it for
really
dangerous act or something. And
you've got to tell them that you're a professional.
But then sometimes they'll retain them and I'll appeal. They'll allow them to be up. And like one video where it's obviously very dangerous and they allow that. And then another video where I'm like 10 miles southwest where they're like, whoa, this is a dangerous act. So there's no consistency in the platform at all. And
man.
I'm actually thinking about boycotting it.
You heard it here first.
They're already throttling a community that's already hurting, you know? I mean, geez, just give us a path.
Garrett Beverly says, apparently you can eat Tide Pods, but you can't show storm chasing videos.
Yeah, there's a lot of dangerous stuff on
that
TikTok that gets through. I mean, even just driving down the road is more dangerous, you know, technically than storm chasing. So, you know, I think that the people that run the platform, for some reason, just have a personal vendetta against storm chasing. Not sure what it is. I mean, we're already kind of bottom of the barrel, you know. And,
just kick us while we're down.
Yeah. We're just a passionate community, that's all.
So this one might be a tough one, but what is your favorite piece of equipment in your storm chasing arsenal and why?
Well, I love the gravity wave sensors because they're relatively easy to deploy and you can still collect valuable data from them. The gravity wave sensors. I love the Dominator 4 also. And I love this new jacket. And the Flex Tape, of course.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sponsored. I wear this because it's a nice jacket, you know, and I like it. You know, I wear it in public. I have more confidence. You know, when I wear this jacket, I feel more confident and I feel better about myself. So I'm going to keep wearing it.
McDonald's, if you're watching, hit up Reed.
I'll eat McDonald's anyway.
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be? What would you want?
Never stop chasing. That's it.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's it. You know, I don't need to be remembered for anything except that. Never stop chasing.
I love it.
Yeah.
What is one piece of advice you'd give to somebody starting out as a storm chaser?
Well, the hardest part is getting to the target and showing up. It's important to show up, but the obvious advice that I have to give is know what you're doing first. Go with somebody that knows what they're doing. Attend a Skywarn training course. I kind of learned the wrong way. I just got in my car and started doing it and nearly got myself killed the first probably many years, including being underneath the overpass on May 3rd, 99. And you can actually learn faster when you go with people that know what they're doing as well. So just get out there, start learning, watch a lot of videos. There are a ton of online resources these days, so you can become an expert in forecasting. And some of the younger generations that are coming up are better forecasters than many meteorologists that I know, just because of the information that's so readily available to everybody out there. So it's an awesome thing to see, and get out there, start doing it, start learning, do it safely. Of course, unfortunately, I can't recommend the path that I took just because of insurance purposes. I guess I might get sued. Not that I have insurance. I definitely don't have insurance at all, but you know, and some of the universities these days are kind of throttling storm chasing a little bit too. But you know, if I could give advice off the record, the hardest part is just to show up on a storm. You got to get out there and storm chase, but go with people that know what they're doing, and then you can learn faster and survive.
That's helpful.
Perfect.
Find a mentor as well. You know, I think there are a lot of storm chasers that, you know, maybe would be favorable mentors now, especially because maybe when they started storm chasing, they were met with gatekeepers or people that were a little bit less willing to show them the path forward. So there's probably a lot more mentors that are available for younger storm chasers that are getting into the field. And I would also recommend having a side plan, meteorology, going to school for meteorology, and kind of have a backup plan just in case. And you can always proceed with that plan and storm chase on the side and grow storm chasing on the side until it reaches a level to where you could do it full time. And so the key is to be patient as well, but work really hard. But you know, at the same time, it's possible to have a job that may not be storm chasing, but grow storm chasing up until you get it. And so that's kind of the key, because right now with storm chasing, you basically have to work multiple jobs at the same time to really make ends meet. There are people out there that are doing it, And I'm thinking that as Web3 comes up, there's going to be a lot more paths forward for storm chasers because the weather industry is huge. Everything depends on weather. Everything depends on content as well, kind of the last form of human expression. And storm chasing is such an art form in itself. It's almost a final form of human expression as well. Not only the art form that we're generating, but the actual process, the hook slice maneuvers, the positioning southeast to get the beautiful structure, the penetrating hail cores even, and keeping your vehicle pointed into the wind is an art form in lots of ways. And the video that we collect out there is science as well. So, I think that we need to broaden the definition of who's actually doing science and realize that even just collecting videos of tornadoes and any weather phenomenon is an incredible aspect of science and data collection.
Mm-hmm. So what year to date has been your most successful?
2011, definitely, in terms of the number of tornadoes.
I had a feeling that was coming.
Yeah, 2016 was a good one, but I was kind of juggling trying to get married and a relationship at the time, so I missed a lot of those tornadoes as well. And 2007, 2003 were big years. 2007 was bookended by the Pipestone, Manitoba tornado up there. 2003 and 2007 were both El Nino springs, which are more dependable for being active because La Ninas can really go big, but I think that they're a little bit less dependable, a little bit of a more narrow window to get to tornadoes.
Yeah, for sure.
So this will be the last question. Mm-hmm. What is one question that you wish we would have asked you?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Because we've asked you a lot of stuff. We've covered a lot of ground tonight.
Man, I don't know. You guys asked a lot of good questions.
Well, that's fine too.
Yeah.
About the flash floods and debris flows, maybe something related to that, which is kind of a passion that I learned from David Rankin, who was one of the original flash flood debris flow chasers. Rankin Studio is his YouTube page, but he grew up in Big Water, Utah, predicting and tracking those debris flows and happened to teach me his craft. And I've definitely really enjoyed chasing down these flash floods and debris flows in the Mountain West and in the desert Southwest, kind of thinking like a fluid combination of atmospheric sciences and geography and knowledge of topography. And it's relaxing also. It feels almost like a vacation to me when I'm chasing out those flash floods. Kind of like crystal hunting, bug collecting, a little bit more relaxing and less competitive, which is nice.
Get to unplug for a while and just enjoy doing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
there it is.
It is time for today's game show.
And in honor of the McDonald's coat, we figured we'd go with a fast food theme for the trivia tonight.
That sounds good.
So we'll ask a question, and you'll get it's all multiple choice. So we'll give you four options to choose from.
Okay.
And we'll see how you do here. So the first question is: at what sub shop is known for its toasted subs? Is it Subway, Zero Subs, Quiznos, or Jimmy John's?
Subway.
Does anyone want to guess in the comments?
It is definitely Subway when you say, "Oh, can I get this toasted, please?" Subway.
Do we have a guess in the comments?
We do have a winner. It's Quiznos, buddy.
Yeah. I disagree.
Because they had the whole toasted line. You can get a sub that wasn't toasted.
No, I'm going to have to disagree. You can get Subway untoasted.
So originally founded in 1981, Quiznos specializes in toasted sub sandwiches. Subway, the largest submarine sandwich shop, eventually followed suit and began offering the option in 2004.
But they followed suit, means that are they known for it now?
I guess probably.
Guess okay, now, yeah.
Fine, if you want to argue it.
That's what I do. If I get a wrong answer, I'll attack the test. The professor's fault.
Good lawyer there.
So question number 2 is, what is the oldest soft drink in the USA? Is it
Dr.
Coca-Cola?
It's Coca-Cola. Yeah, I think they invented. Did they buy out Dr. Pepper?
So
Wait.
everybody knows the popular drink Dr. Pepper ever since it was created in the 1880s in Texas. I bet even some people consider Dr. Pepper as the national drink of the USA.
I still think they would guess Coke, but I love Dr. Pepper. I like Dr. Pepper. It's good. All of it's good for you. My nieces are not even allowed to have Coke or any soft drinks. They've never had a Coke before.
What?
Can you believe that? Yeah.
Wow.
One of them is 12 years old and she's never had a Coke.
Oh, man.
They've been
Look out.
brainwashed into thinking it's bad, so I drink a Coke and they're like shaming me. It's crazy.
Do you know what's in that?
Yeah.
Nope, but it's good.
Yeah, we're the generation that grew up on high C ecto cooler, the high C that was dyed green, and we'd have a little bottle, like a little nipple that pulled the high C out of it every morning. Starting
Pixie
the day off with high
sticks and
fructose corn syrup.
All right, number 3. Where was the origin of pizza? Paris, France, Florence, Italy, New York, USA, or Naples, Italy?
I'm thinking you guys put the Italy ones in there to throw me off, so I'm going to guess Paris, France.
No, sir.
Okay.
Zach Walters got it right. It is Naples, Italy. So we all know that pizza belongs to the Italian dishes, but everyone should try their Neapolitan pizza. Italian cuisine. Well, this wasn't even a fact. Sorry, I copied this off the internet, so it's it is not a fact about Naples. It's just a fact about pizza.
Man, the news is coming in right now. It sounds like Russia has invaded Ukraine and officially declared war.
Oh,
Oh, good. I just got a photo of this big explosion on here.
damn it.
Yeah.
That makes the...
Oh, man.
That's going to get bad.
Yep. So, on that note,
Bring down the trivia.
question number 4 is, why did Kentucky Fried Chicken change its name to KFC? A competitor sued them. They did not like the word fried. They were not really from Kentucky,
3.
or the government forced them to.
3, not from Kentucky. Competitor sued them.
No.
They did not like the word fried.
Nailed it. First try.
Thank you.
So Kentucky Fried Chicken changed its name to KFC in 1991 because it planned to offer a more varied menu and wanted to eliminate the unhealthy connotation of fried from its name.
And it
Not
worked.
sure how well that worked.
When did Taco Bell first open? 1961, 62, 63, or 64?
I know it was somewhere between 1961 and 64. We'll go with 64.
No, sir. Owner
61.
Glenn.
I should have known you guys would put it in the middle.
So owner Glenn Bell actually opened in 1962.
Wow.
Okay, you got to know this one, Reed.
Okay.
When was the first Happy Meal sold? 79?
1982. 79.
Hey!
One of these is not like the others.
Now this one, I actually had no idea that it was even a thing. What fast food restaurant was first envisioned during a figure skating competition? Was it Buffalo Wild Wings, Blimpies, Raising Cane's, or Brahms?
I'll say Blimpies. That's kind of a northern sub shop.
No, sir.
All right, I quit this thing. I'm out.
It was actually Buffalo Wild Wings.
I quit.
I'm gonna eat my supper. I'm done with this game. You got 3 more, buddy. You're almost there.
You think the sour cream's still good?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It is vacuum sealed.
It's not real cream anyway.
Yeah.
So, what was the first Starbucks drink ever? A large black coffee, a cafe latte, a caramel macchiato, or a green tea latte?
Can you believe these are supposed to be Southwest egg rolls, and it's like a whole roll? Usually you're supposed to chop those up. That's crazy. I've never seen the whole roll. I would say black coffee. Black coffee.
I threw that in there just to get you.
Okay. Caramel macchiato.
You're dancing on the edge.
Okay.
Cafe latte.
All right. Let's grind through these.
All right, you got 2 more. You got this one.
Okay.
What fast food was literally founded in a broom closet? Papa John's, Dairy Queen's, Subway, or McDonald's?
I'll go McDonald's.
Oh, dude.
I'm just guessing at random right now to get to these fajitas.
It was Papa John's. It was actually founded in 1984 when Papa John Shatner knocked out a broom closet in the back of his father's tavern and sold his prized 72 Z28 Camaro to purchase $1,600 worth of used pizza equipment.
Wow. That's crazy.
Right?
That's good to know.
Last
one. Who invented deep frying? The French, Egyptians, Americans, or the Brits?
I'm going to say the Egyptians. I would guess that it came from a long time ago.
Finished strong.
There we go. Finally. Got it.
2500 BC.
Yeah. When did Applebee's open? Let me ask you guys a trivia question.
Which one? The one in Regina?
2 weeks ago?
So, Reed, where can people find you on social media?
Just Reed Timmer Acu on Twitter. There it is. Reed Timmer on Facebook. You can find us on there. So you can't. I would suggest not finding me on TikTok because I'm about to be banned off of TikTok.
Awesome, and you can follow us on our social media at Twitter, or on Twitter. It's at the PDS Podcast. You can follow Jordan at Manitoba Storm Chasers on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'm at 706 Photos everywhere on social. Please subscribe to the show in your favorite podcast app, and if your player lets you, leave us a review. That really helps us jump up in the standings.
And become a supporter on Facebook for the chance to win exclusive merch and prizes. And don't forget to head over to mbstorm.redbubble.com for your Storm Chase apparel needs. Make sure you tune in for episode 11 live on March 8th with special guest Jessica Moore. And thank you again to Reed for joining us tonight and for everybody who watched us live.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, everyone. Have a good night.
It's an absolute honor being on the PDS podcast.
Thank you for listening to the PDS Podcast. Find our bi-weekly show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, or your favorite podcast app. And watch our live show recordings on Facebook and YouTube. To find our merchandise, visit mbstorm.redbubble.com. If you'd like to contact us with questions or make comments about the show, reach out to us on Twitter or shoot us an email to pdspodcast@mbstormchasers.com. Make sure you join us next time and tell your friends and family about the PDS Podcast.